Hello, I'm Bert Oliver, and thanks for tuning in. John Ross, my co-host, co-producer, will introduce our guest for today. John?
Thank you, Bert. Welcome to Bowie News and Views. Our guest today is Len Lucchi, who represents the city's interests on a variety of levels, and I'll let him get into that in detail in a minute. But since part of our programs
Politics
includes politics and views, I received a rather interesting mailing this week from Prince George's County Councilwoman Ingrid Turner, who represents Bowie on that distinguished body. And I was quite surprised because the news these days is telling us that the county executive and the county council are in desperate need of money. Mr. Johnson, the county executive, is gearing up to get rid of 125 people. He's already dispatched quite a few public safety people. County is complaining they have no cash. Well, I wonder what it costs to mail that. No commentary, just a question. But addressed to everybody in the district, I suspect that comes to quite a bit of money. So, do you have anything to say about that, Bert?
Well, John, you're right. I thought it was very impressive when I received it, but
well, it doesn't say much. But
well done looking, but you're absolutely right. It seems like there should be some, in my view, some exercise on limiting any spending during this
self-restraint.
Self-restraint,
yeah.
And I think everyone that's elected, particularly in our area, that we're getting impact not only the county but the state. They should be the leader in
yeah, I
changing
agree.
those
That's not a sign of leadership. But anyway,
yeah,
Len, welcome to you.
Thank you.
Would you give us a little sketch of your Bowie history and what you do for the city?
Sure. Well, this is my hometown. I grew up here, live in the same house where I grew up. Love this town. I watched it grow from 1,000 people to 54,000 people.
You have been here a while.
And although a lot of things have changed, a lot of things have still stayed the same. The great community spirit, the great recreation and park amenities that we have here in Bowie. I'm an attorney with O'Malley, Miles, Nyland, and Gilmore, free advertisement there.
There you go.
And one of my favorite clients is my hometown, the city of Bowie, whose interests I represent before the Maryland General Assembly.
Okay.
Well, you know, John, I might mention this, since we're introducing Lynn, I'd like to make a point about a story in the newspaper. And it's such matches his time with the city of Bowie. And here's a picture of Lynn and his son. And of course, Michael, his son, just became Eagle Scout.
Isn't that great?
And he was following in his dad's footsteps. And we might could take a close shot of that. But the important thing is, there's Lynn in his Eagle Scout uniform. I'm sure he had to order one recently.
Oh, definitely.
It wasn't the
Tailor-made.
Just to give us a little, there's a lot in here, and I'd like for you to just start with that, particularly on the heels of your community activity, and tell us how this happened.
Well, Troop 403 was started in Bowie in 1967.
Yeah, I remember the Troop 403.
Out of Holy Trinity Episcopal Church. One of our assistant scoutmasters when I was in was Mayor Leo Green, who came in and would camp with us. And it had about 40-some young men, and it met there, and it had a very good active camping schedule. And now, 35 years later, not too much is different. They meet in the same place, about 40, 50 young scouts, a lot of adult involvement
still
like
the
before.
interest.
And it's going strong as ever.
Great.
And there are other families too, where the sons have followed their father's footsteps and joined the troop as well. And it's that's replicated all over Bowie with other Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, Boys and Girls Clubs. A lot of my contemporaries could have moved anywhere after they finished college and graduate school and decided to come back to Bowie like we did. And we've never looked back.
That's great. I'm not sure that's still happening. Do you know whether it is or it isn't? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
There are no real statistics on it. My son is a Bowieite, and he is now firmly ensconced in Baltimore. But you know, in your role, you are very, very well aware of Bowie politics. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you've pontificated, well, that's not pontificated, commented on that topic on another show that appears on this channel.
Right.
No, not Mickey, Terry Devaney's Talk of the Town, is it?
Right.
You see big changes in politics in Bowie?
Well, I thought we had, and then now not so much. I mean, 2 years ago was the first time where Bowie political campaigns became high spending with consultants and starting early and very vigorous, a lot of direct mail, and then this year not so much. And that means one of two things, or both. Either people are very happy the way things are in Bowie, or they don't care.
Or there's a third alternative. Have you seen much publicity on it in the local newspapers?
Oh, we have local newspapers? I wasn't aware of that. We had local newspapers. I'm sorry.
Well, actually, we don't have a paper physically situated in Bowie anymore. Yeah, I haven't seen any coverage of the election whatsoever.
Right.
And I think that hurts. I think it's the responsibility of the papers to do that. And it seems to me these candidates are at a disadvantage, don't you?
Sure. There's no free media, no press.
No.
Absolutely, and that's why we're trying to bring the subject up often as we can.
Yeah.
And we chose not to invite candidates on because we felt the news was most important, not just the views that they may have. The news about the election we're trying to promote very well.
It's right here on the title.
Yeah, news and views, Bowie News and Views.
Well, no, I mean the election day, in case
Oh,
anyone
so?
didn't know it.
Yeah.
A lot of the candidates are going door to door, some of the more dedicated ones. And people are saying, huh? What election?
I mean, there's no substitute for that kind of personal contact in terms of
No, I agree.
trying to persuade someone to turn out and vote for you.
I agree.
And if you, it's very manageable if you're running for one of the districts. It's not a lot of voters, especially if you just go visit the people who have voted before as opposed to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty small group of people.
Oh, yes.
Well, absolutely, Lynn, and you've been involved in probably the best observer of this, and not always out front, but out front with your, I guess, your attention and activity. That's the important thing.
Behind the scenes. And what do you see in this election? What are the major issues that these candidates should be dealing with and discussing?
Well, they should look at the fiscal health of Bowie, which actually is pretty good. Standard & Poor's gave it a AAA. They should look at what kinds of parks and recreation amenities we provide, and the city provides more, spends more on parks and recreation than any other city in Prince George's County. And they should look about whether we're secure in our homes, and I think people are just thrilled the past couple of years with the Bowie Police Department. The response times have been cut down a lot.
Oh, yes.
And they have community policing, and you see the Bowie police officers, and I think people cheer now when they see the cruisers going by. So I mean, those are the three big issues: your pocketbook, your recreation time, and your security.
Yeah.
And maybe the reason why there's not a lot of candidates is because people are pretty content with the state of all three.
Well, that's a possibility.
Senior citizens, what do you think could be done from being sure we keep seniors in our community?
Like Bert and I.
And me someday, but I mean, that's the biggest challenge is if you want to live in a nice senior community where you don't have to worry about the law, but you have still being part of the community, that doesn't really exist in Bowie.
Yeah.
You have to go outside the city, and we lose some great citizens who are very involved in the community because of that. And
Senior housing is a big loss here.
right. Now, in order to qualify for active adult communities, you have to have certain amenities to offer as well. And right now, we don't have much of a market for any kind of new capital spending like that. But I mean, that's what it takes, and there's plenty of places where that could be done.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, you know, and I think although it's a long time ago, I think in the 80s, from when the first over 55 communities was right there on that Excalibur Road, multi-level. A lot of people objected to it, the condominium apartments, but it was the first, and a lot of people forget about that. But we did have an accommodation there, and I remember meeting the people that was developing it, and they weren't sure it would go over. So it wasn't just for the Bowie community, and I'm not sure it was even the city limits there, but you know where it is.